I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Trying to work this North Brothers handle into a suitable shape, and came up with a few ideas, and hopefully it's going to work. The stuff does dry eventually. It takes 5 days. 5 days. And I gave it an extra day to set up really good because I don't want to rush this job with so much invested in it. And I left it another day after I wet sanded it to make sure that I had all the water out of it. So now I'm ready to do the second coat of Alkyd paint. And just to protect myself, because this stuff doesn't wash off so good, I like my Sneelock shirt, but I'm wearing old pants. So I'm not going to run into the same problem I did the last time I tried to paint a birdhouse, and I shook the paint can and ended up getting paint all over my shirt and my pants and the floor and the workbench and everything else. Got to really check the lid to make sure the lid's tight. Okay, so we're just going to go full Monty on this thing and put all the safety equipment on. No face shield, I don't think I need that. But I'm really tired of scrubbing Alkyd paint off my hands because I was trying to figure out how long it took to dry, and that meant that I touched it a lot. So I ended up scrubbing my fingers nearly bloody raw. So we'll wear these rubber gloves. Okay, now we're ready. I'm going to move the camera so that we get a better shot of what's going on. First thing I need to do is to put some of this blue painter's tape on the handle, because I don't want to have this silver part getting coated with paint, because this stuff is going to be hard to get off, and there's no point making more work. Already done enough on this project. Don't need to add any additional effort. The original blue paint was put on there so that I could wrap it into the lathe jaws and not damage the material. So it was really a whole lot of tape on there. And I don't think that's quite necessary to go that far. I just need to give it one good coating. The other thing I need to do is not have any openings in this tape for the paint to get underneath it. Because the paint that's shielded from the air doesn't dry. So I ended up having paint on my hands trying to take the tape off, because underneath the tape on this dowel there was damp paint. I guess it stands to reason. It's kind of like leaving it in the can, you know. If it's not exposed to air, it doesn't set up. Okay, tape is on. We'll open the can. Oh. These plastic bags come in real handy in the shop. They make good catch spots. Now, I have the rotisserie set up in the vise. On the floor, I have a piece of cardboard underneath it to catch the drips. Under the paint can, I have a piece of plastic, an old plastic bag, and that should capture any drips coming out of the can. And I whittled the end of this to match that square hole, so it should drive okay. Let's see just what kind of trouble I can get into. Okay, here we go. This paint's really thick and it wants to drip. And as much as I can get back in the paint can, that's going to make it so that I'm not wasting it. And also should keep things working a little easier. Okay, now it's going to drip. Nothing we can do about that until I get the rotisserie going. It's just going to run off. So I'm going to close up the paint can and recognize that I'm going to get paint on that cardboard. And that cardboard has to go out in the garbage because it's going to take 5 days before it's dry enough to not run all over everything. Coating looks good. Ran into a minor malfunction. This fell on the floor multiple times and goofed up the paint. So I'm going to strip it and start over. Now the first coat of paint should stay on there okay. I'm just going to take off the second coat. This is not quite the definition of insanity, but it's close. Now, because this stick was getting loose and wobbling around and falling out of this device. I glued it in place. So now it is permanently stuck there. At least that is the theory. So I'm going to put this over that and let this spin and dry. But before I do that, the problem I was running into with this is this stick is not centered. It's not permanently affixed in there. It's not straight. So I'm going to make a support for that stick so that it will stay on there and not come loose. The way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to make a loop out of this piece of wire. So that it will extend over this piece of wood. And then I'm going to attach it to the shell of this motor so that it will not be able to be unsupported and fall out of there. At least that's the theory. Talk about a Rube Goldberg setup. And of course, seeing as how it's in Sneelock's workshop, it has to have a clamp. I've dropped that thing 5 times today. Hopefully this bale makes it stay. Well, it took a heck of a lot of trying to get it to work, but it's working. Paint looks nice too. Last time I tried the light bulb trick, it blistered all up. This time with it rotating, it was able to cool off enough on the way around that it didn't overheat. This little bale here stopped it from falling off. Pretty nice. %100% cover too. Looks good. Not perfect, but it looks good. Just enough on there to keep it spinning. Took a full day of fiddling to just get the paint to work right. This is the last Alkyd paint that I'm going to ever buy. It's a beautiful job of paint. I mean, it's smooth, it's glossy, it looks really nice. Hard as a rock once it's dry. But God, what a mess. Well, that's a full day's work setting this up and painting that. Getting the paint to go on, having to strip it once and repaint it again, having it fall off the rotisserie multiple times. Finally coming up with a way to make it stay and get the angle right and get everything set up and put the little keeper on it to keep the paint from running down all over the place. Set the light bulb up and let it dry. Rather happy. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. And yes, according to my wife, I am certifiably crazy. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the US or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.